2 wins. I was saying before, it feels like you played in that game. There's so much emotion that went into it. But it just felt great by the end.
It did, and to be honest, it wasn't a great start from Liverpool. First half, opening 15 minutes, I think they were slow out the blocks. I think we said they had to handle the emotion. They did come out to a rapturous applause and "You'll Never Walk Alone," and maybe that just took them by surprise, really, walking out actually to a full stadium. It took them a little bit to get going, but once they got into the stride, they did okay. It was a good professional performance with a sort of sprinkling of stardust every now and again. Second half was a lot better as the game sort of wore on. I felt last week when I watched the Burnley game, they actually ran out of steam with 15 minutes to go, and that's when Brighton got on top. And it was a very similar scenario today for them. They had no response. Obviously, Liverpool give away, possibly, we're talking a little bit negatively, maybe too many chances for Burnley, but that's just something that can be rectified on the training ground. But overall, yeah, I'd probably give them a 7.5 out of 10 for today.
Yeah, well, we had a spell in the second half where we seemed to have about 5 or 6 really clear-cut chances, didn't we? So it was just a good, decent performance, and you move on, don't you? Lots of positives.
Where positives are concerned, and the boys were talking about it there just before, Harvey Elliott coming into the team. It felt like probably for Burnley's left back that he was being attacked by 3 wingers at one stage when things were going well, with Trent at full back and Salah in front of Elliott as well.
Two of them with left foots as well, which is like, well, which one is this coming up now? No, he did well. He just feels he's a little bit. It's almost as though he's searching for some confidence. He's not sort of. We were speaking about this upstairs. He's not quite sort of there yet, which is. He's bound not to be, and you almost feel for him like he needed a moment where he went maybe past 2 or 3 players and played somebody in, and the whole place would have been rocking, and that'll probably kick him on. Look, he's got masses of ability. He's a kid, Pete. Imagine what he's learnt today, let alone in any of the other games. But promising, very promising.
I don't know if it was the same for Laura. I remember me when I was making my debut, maybe the first 3 or 4 games. You don't want to do anything wrong. You play within yourself. You just. You know, it's that feeling of like, do I really belong here? And then once you get that feeling that you are part of the first team and you are playing in the first team on merit, you're not just throwing in, then you kind of grasp it. That's when the actual you comes out and you start expressing yourself a little bit more. He's got so much more to offer. And like I said before, you know, maybe with the team there's a little bit of sprinkling, but his performance as well, it was kind of very safe, but a little bit of sprinkling of stardust every now and again. Some of his touches, little balls inside, you know, the way he was turning, little through ball he played. I think for Salah, the goal that was chalked off. Beautiful little weighted ball, you know, into his path for a first time finish. Just little things like that he's got that kind of quality. But there's definitely more to come from him. He can be a star if he wants to be. It's up to him.
You can see he's going to make things happen, can't you? The other thing is, I don't care who you are and whatever age, and you're sat in that dressing room knowing you're playing and you're looking around at everybody and thinking, oh my goodness, you know, and it is really, really tough, and we don't know what anyone's got between their ears basically, but he seems to be pretty cool and everything. He got a massive shove by Klopp today just to play him. It's almost like, go on then, you've done great in pre-season. So, you know, in before Jones and 1 or 2 others, so hopefully kick on. Whether he plays against Chelsea next week, possibly not.
Yeah, he'll be looking at a few changes to that midfield, do you think, for a game like that?
I don't think Harvey Elliott would start. It's a monster game, isn't it? It's a monster game. And it might be one of those games where you chuck him on for 20 minutes at the end and say, go on, just run at people and cause problems and stuff. But I couldn't see him starting. What are you laughing at?
John Aldridge is just sneaking past.
There's a shot.
I think he can see the bar from here. John Aldridge
I've
after
never
a
seen him move so
commentary.
quick.
We talk so often, don't we, about Virgil van Dijk and the defensive side of what we missed from last season. That long diagonal ball that led up to the second goal as well, that he just hits it with such consummate ease, doesn't he?
Doesn't he? In his sleep, doesn't he? He's got that in the locker, that little faded diag. Yeah, different kind of game for him today than what it was last week. Pukki never really offered any sort of physical challenge to him. He's not going to really run him. Liverpool dominated possession. You know, it was a very sort of, he just coasted through the game last week, didn't he? Today, you know, with them 2 up front, Woods and Harvey Barnes, you know, it was a different prospect. They're there to rough you up, aren't they? They're there to put challenges and to back into you, to ask questions. They're maybe not going to run you, but they're going to be bumping you around. There was a little bit of concern. We'll have to wait and see. He makes a challenge here. I mean, you say that's great to see that diag, and I like it. But I like to see that more.
Yeah.
The last ditch tackle where he gets there and he gets that touch on it and puts it out for the corner. That's what it's all about. He's there to defend at the end of the day and keep clean sheets, and he was called upon, but he did get up a little bit groggy. So we'll just have to see how that pans out. But yeah, it's great to have him back. There's just that air of calmness when he's around, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like serenity, isn't it? The other thing is as well I think he will have enjoyed today's game more, because Jason said about Pukki, he's all about runs and all that, but those two today give you a battering, and you know you've been in a game, and I suggest you'll feel better because of that.
And that physicality that Liverpool come up against as a team as well. Like you say, it's well and good coming up against footballing teams that you beat, but you know they are just masters at it, aren't they? Trying to kill the game and kill the clock.
It's not just the physical side of it, it's the tactic side of it when you come up against the likes of a Burnley, and we will come up against that more often than not. Certainly here at Anfield, a team with a low block, they'll sit on the edge of the box, they'll be organised, they'll come for a point, they'll make it very difficult. They'll say to Liverpool, you break us down, you come up with the answers. You know, if you want 3 points, you're going to have to earn it. You know, that's the thing that Burnley offered as well, as much as the physicality when there's set pieces or when they break or they're going long. You know, they do that to teams and to do that to players. But in the main, it's very much like, you know, they come here, shut up shop, and it's very much like, well, go on then, break us down if you can. And like I said, it wasn't a great start by Liverpool, so they had to dig deep, roll the sleeves up, and come up with the answers. But we've got enough players who can come up with with solutions.
Well, I mean, Alice had to make a few saves early on, didn't he? But it's right. I mean, you have to negate what they do, and there's no other way around it, unless somebody pulls one out of thin air and goes bang 1-0 in the second minute. But that's you know, it's a thing about, that's why the Premier League is so good, because you get so many different teams, the way they play against you, the way you have to adapt to play as well, and it can be finesse one week, it can be pure raw strength. You know, the week after it can be somebody just sat in, man marking everybody, and you know, that's why this league's so tough to win, basically.